When you sit down to think about a new gaming laptop, the first thing that pops into most people's heads is the fear of overpaying for a machine that either can't keep up with the latest titles or that ends up being a suitcase-sized power brick you never take out of the house. I've been there, scrolling through endless spec sheets, trying to figure out whether a higher-end model is really worth the premium or if a more modest setup would give me the same experience in the long run. That hesitation is what this review is trying to resolve. I'm going to walk through the real-world experience of the Dell 16-inch laptop, point out where it actually shines for gamers and creators, and be blunt about where it falls short, so you can decide if it's the right fit for you before you click buy. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First, let's talk about the kind of performance you can expect when you fire up a modern game like Cyberpunk 2077 or an intensive creative workflow in Adobe Premiere. The Dell 16 packs a 10-core Intel Core i7-150U, which on paper sounds like a beast, and in practice it does give you a solid baseline for most current titles at 1080p with medium-high settings. What matters more than raw clock speeds, though, is how the laptop handles sustained loads. In my testing, after about 20 minutes of continuous gameplay, the CPU stayed comfortably under its boost ceiling, but the integrated Intel graphics, while competent for indie titles and older AAA games, started to show its limits with newer, texture-heavy environments. You'll still get playable frame rates, but you'll be nudging down some settings to keep things smooth. If you're a competitive gamer who lives for ultra-high frame rates, you'll feel the gap compared to a laptop with a dedicated RTX card. Heat is another big concern for anyone who plans to game for more than an hour at a time. The Dell's cooling solution uses a dual-fan design that ramps up quickly once temperatures climb past the 70°C mark. In real use, the fans become audible more of a steady hum than a whine, and you'll notice a slight vibration on the palm rests of the keyboard. It isn't a distraction in a quiet room, but if you play with headphones on in a shared space, the noise can be noticeable. The laptop does manage to keep the surface temperature under control. The chassis stays warm but not scalding, so you won't be burning your lap while you're on a couch session. Speaking of the keyboard, the backlit keys feel solid, with a short travel distance that works well for both gaming and long typing sessions. The tactile feedback is enough to give you confidence when executing quick combos, yet it isn't a clicky mechanical feel that some gamers swear by. The fingerprint reader is a nice touch for Windows 11 Pro users who want a quick, secure login, and it actually works reliably. No need to fumble with a password when you're in a hurry. Now let's address the display, because that's where the Dell 16 tries to differentiate itself. The 16-inch WUXGA 19201200 Comfortview touchscreen offers a slightly taller aspect ratio than the usual 16:9, giving you a bit more vertical real estate for productivity tasks. The panel supports 100% sRGB coverage, so colors look accurate enough for photo editing or video color grading, but you won't get the deep blacks or high contrast of a true OLED panel. The touch capability is responsive, yet it's not something you'll rely on for fast-paced gaming. It's more useful for navigating creative software or browsing media. Brightness peaks around 300 nits, which is fine for indoor use but will struggle a bit in direct sunlight. Portability is a mixed bag. The chassis measures just under 1 kilogram, which feels light enough to toss into a backpack for a coffee shop workday, but the 16-inch screen adds a bit of bulk compared to the more common 15-inch gaming laptops. The 4-cell battery is 71 Wh, and with the integrated graphics, you can stretch a gaming session to about 2 to 3 hours before needing a recharge. That's respectable, but if you plan on long flights or marathon gaming without a power outlet, you'll want to carry the charger. Dell's ExpressCharge does bring the battery back to 80% in roughly an hour, which is quicker than many competitors. Storage and memory are where the Dell really leans into the creator-professional angle. With 64 GB of DDR5 RAM and a massive 4 TB SSD, you'll never have to worry about hitting a wall when you're editing 4K footage or juggling multiple game installs. The SSD is NVMe, so load times are snappy, games boot in seconds, and large project files open almost instantly. That level of capacity does push the price upward, but for users who need that headroom, it's a practical advantage rather than a gimmick. Now, who should consider buying this machine? If you're a hybrid gamer creator, someone who streams, does light video editing, and wants a reliable workhorse that can also handle most modern games at decent settings, this